Hello, Tamara here. Nice of you to join me and a very warm welcome to my channel. It's lovely to have you here with me today. Now, this is going to be a construction video and a tutorial on how to put your albums together using the tape method. But you can use this particular method on all albums, all different sizes. Okay, so you will need your grey board cut out. Now this is 2mm grey board that I'm using. So you'll need your two covers, one back, one front, and for a typical album you will only need one spine, okay, which goes in the middle like so. But for this particular album I've got some closures that have got some magnets in that will need to go on the side. Then when the album's turned over, these will then join up. Okay, so if you were just doing a basic album, that is all you would need. The other thing that you will need are, I can get them out, are some album spacers. Now these are my gap guides and I've got two lengths at the moment. I've got a 1/4 inch one, and if you then turn it over to the other side there's the 3/8 of an inch one. So it's depending on how what you're doing to which size gap that you need. Now these gaps I talk about are going to be in between our spine and our cover. Now that's going to allow for our covers to fold and bend nicely and with ease. If you were to just butt up your cover and your spine, it wouldn't bend, and you will find that whatever you cover it with will break and will split. So that's why we need that extra gap. If you haven't got gap guides, you can use whatever substrate that you use for your base, for the base of your album. You can have two pieces of that grey board stuck together like that, and then that will then give you your, well, in this case it would be my 4mm gap, which is roughly about 1/4 inch, and then you can use that as a spacer in between. But because I've got my gap guides, it makes it so much easier. So this particular album is going to be more of a portrait album than a landscape one, but again the method is exactly the same with whatever you do, whatever size of album you do, this method will be the same. So I'm using my foundation tape. You can buy this and my gap guides in my shop, and I will put a link down here where you can just click on it, or not maybe so much a link. What I'll do is I will put a QR code up here somewhere where you can just scan that in using your phone, and it will take you to my shop if you would like to buy the tape and things. So what I tend to do is I put my album together first, and then I cover the edges. So how I do it, because I craft standing up, I am going to put my tape over the edge, so I'm hanging it over the edge of my desk so that it just creates a bit of a tension. So getting your first cover, we're going to put this so it's half on one side of the tape, okay, like so. You're going to use your gap guide, and we just put that in that right angled corner there. Then you're going to put the same on the bottom like so. Okay, now that's going to give you your perfect width for your album. then you just need to add your spine, burnish them down well. Now I tend to use the top part here as a lever, just to very gently prise it off, and the same with this side here. So you just very gently prise it off like so, and then that gives you that nice width in between. Now I am just going to just very gently just prise them apart so that I've got no gaps and no creases in my tape. So I fold the one over, pulling them down. Get your tape and some scissors. Now titanium scissors are the best for this. So if you've got the, for instance, Tim Holtz scissors, they work really well because they are titanium blades and they don't get as sticky as what a normal blade would. So I'm just going to cut that so it overlaps this top piece of a little bit more. Then just burnish those down, okay, so that's nice and stuck down. And also this takes out any of the creases that you may have got in your tape. And don't worry if you do get creases, because it's not a problem, because you will fold, you'll cover this anyway with your pattern paper. You really aren't going to see an awful lot of it. So bringing in your back piece, we're going to do the same again. Unwind it, and we're going to stick now this spine to that tape, okay, like so. Burnish that down. Using your gap guides again, just put them over those corners of that spine, and this one's just not gone on right, and this happens. So I tend to try and use this part here and just fit it in, to slot it into the corner that way. Okay, then we can put the next part on, which is your back. Burnish that down. Take off the gap guide and take off the gap guide. Just gently, just prise that open so I've got no creases in the sort of the gusset here. Pull this over so it's nice and taut. Get your tape and there we go. Just there we go. Pull that up so it's nice and taut. There we go. That way you don't end up with a little bit here. I feel as though I'm a bit off. Let's move that camera up a bit. She says, there we go. That's a bit better now. You can see what I'm doing. So once you've got your two bits on, we're just going to burnish that tape down really well. Do it on the other side. Be careful your Teflon tool doesn't slip and you then will go through your tape, so just be mindful of that. I'm just using my thumb just to rub that gap down. So what that's going to do is that's going to make the two pieces of tape stick together. Okay, and it just gives you a nice finish as well. So this is going to be my outside edge, and where I've got the joins, that's going to be my inside. So if I was just doing a normal standard album, that would be me finished with sticking the two pieces together. But because I'm actually doing my album with some book closures on, we need to stick these together first. So I'm going to just start, it's exactly the same way. We just half on the tape and half off. gap guide. Get the right gap guide. So that's the 1/4 inch one I'm using. And again, these are available in my shop, and I do ship internationally. So if you're interested, then please head on over. Now, what I may have done, which is quite good actually, I've not left myself enough space, enough overhang of the tape. So we'll just take this off, and it will come off pretty easily, like so. Now, I would try and use that again, but because of the video, I'll take it off. So we just do this again. Now remember, half on, half off. That's a bit better. Gap guide, gap guide, like so. Then you need your book closure, goes on. Now I'm just going to make sure that these line up, and they do. So that would be that way. Okay. Right, so then take off the gap guide. So the top one, bottom one, just very gently pull it off. Just pull them apart a little bit, just so that you haven't got any creases in that tape. Bring the top piece over, burnish that down. Bring the bottom piece over and cut that off. There we go. So that's one side. I'm just going to turn this around. Well, no, I'll just, actually what I'll do is I'll just move it across. So again, tape, half on, half off. Gap guide. Gap guide. One, two. Oh, what have I done? I'm getting ahead of myself there, look. Right, so gap guide, gap guide. And then we put our second piece on and take them off now. And again, and just burnish that down. Bring the top piece over, bring the bottom piece over. Get your tool and just burnish that down. That's it. And then use your thumb just to stick the two pieces of tape together. And turn that over and do the what I would call the front side. Okay. And then that is your album covers near enough done, like so. And then when they go together, you put your magnets in there. So the only thing left we've got now to do is to just edge our grey board. Now you can paint the edge of grey board as well, but I just like it all to match, so I'm going to edge it in the black, and we do it like this. So I've got a nice long length. I'll just cut that bit off. Now I'm going to stick this part so to the top of one side of your grey board. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to have it overlap. So can you see here it's overlapping a little bit, just this side here. That's because I'm going to cut that off in a moment. So again, you just do the half on, half off technique. Burnish that down. Right, I'm I'm just going to cut this excess bit off. I'll save these later. I always add them to the side of my desk because these little pieces do come in handy. So that is then one bit done. Now we need to get this part over onto this part. Now the easiest way I found to do it, instead of going along that way, is to just turn it up on its side so that it's standing upright. I just give it a little wiggle so that the tape sticks to the very edge of your covers, and then I just roll them down like so, and then that way you don't get any creases and it's stuck. So just going to just burnish with my finger just the where those gaps are to get the tape stuck onto the tape like so. That way it becomes literally invisible, you can't see it. Now where I've had this little bit here that's overhanging, all you have to do is just trim that off like so, and then you've got a nice straight edge. So we're going to do the same to the bottom. So nice long piece of tape. Now this is a 50mm roll of tape, so it does go a very long way. So half on, half on first of all. Give it a good burnish down. Turn it over to the back, and then turn it up. So you turn it over so that the sticky tape is away from you, furthest away. It's the sticky side is facing up, and we're going to just roll that over, give it a little wiggle on that side to get that tape stuck to the very edge, and then just roll it over like so, and then just burnish it down. There we go. So that is that done. Burnish these gaps like so. You can just give that a burnish, but this I've got no creases in it at all. I'm really pleased with that. So just chop off the excess, 1 and 2 like so, and then that creates a nice smooth finish on the sides there. Now doing because we've got these edges here to do now, so these are a little different, whereas we need to be a little bit more precise with our tape. So what I'm going to do is, just for demonstration purposes, I'm going to cut a length off. Now your tape needs to go on this very edge here, so where we've actually put it onto the side in the previous 2 times, we're actually going to put it right onto the edge. So if I was to look down on that tape, I'll show you in just a second. So burnish that down. So if I was to look down, you create like a T shape, okay? So burnish the very top down. I've just used my finger, but I will go along with my tool and just burnish that onto the very edge. That helps to stick it down and also gives you a nice crisp edge as well. So you've got these hanging off bits. Now what I don't want, I want to create a really nice sharp edge. Now if I was to just push them over and get them stuck, you would have, which would be fine, but over time what will happen as the edges here will start to curl. So to alleviate that, we're just going to miter the corners up to that point there. Okay, so we miter them corners so you create that type of thing. Okay, so we'll do the same with this side. I had a bit more there, but that's okay. Don't worry if they don't match, that doesn't matter. So then what we're going to do is from the middle, we're just going to push them down. Okay, so push that down. Okay, I've just got a bit there that I haven't chopped off, and there's another side done. So we're going to do the same with this side. So get your tape, put it on the very edge, half on, half off. Burnish that down with your finger. Just use your tool. Okay. 1, 2. 1, 2. Just push that down. Now, push these down as well. And then that is your album. It covers near enough finished. Now the next thing that we would add to this would be our spine mount. Now the spine mount is going to help give you some stability to your album, because at the minute it's too flexible to stand up. So with the spine mount, that will hold it in place. So the cardstock that I've got is 220 GSM. So this is, sorry, my hinge mount or spine mount. Now what I tend to do is I cut my spine mount 1/4 of an inch shorter than my album covers to give me a nice gap either end. Now you can just use your Tim Holtz ruler and measure down 1/4 of an inch. Use your pencil and just draw on your line like so. And again this side, so I'm just doing 1/4 of an inch. Just do your line across. So when you then come to put your spine mount on, you've got a guide of where your spine mount will go. So get your spine mount and center it where you can see. Now it doesn't matter how, if this is not equal either side, that doesn't matter. As long as you get your edge of each side of your spine mount as straight as be, because you're going to use this edge here as your guide when you're putting your pages in. So try and get that as straight as you can. Now I'm just going to clean my glasses. I feel as though I'm, that's better, looking through a haze. So we've got that there. Now to put this on, we need some double-sided tape and your glue. So I'm using a 1/4 inch double-sided tape. Although this looks bigger, it's because it's on a 6mm wide carrier sheet. So just going to now rip it off. Now what you don't want is to put your tape right at the top, because we don't want to see that double-sided tape coming through the top of your spine mount. So we tend to just stop it just shy. So again on here like so. And so all I've done is put my tape along the hinge joins, I've put them as on either side. Okay, now I'm also going to put my tape around each edge of my spine mount, like so, and again like so. And one more, like so. I am going to burnish this down. Now this heats up the glue and helps you get a much better stick. Now you can see this more clearly if you use a red liner tape on black card. So I've got some red liner tape. Now this isn't finger lift tape, so you will have to cut this. It is a very strong tape. Now I'm hoping you can see that. I'll put another piece on like so. Now I won't. Now can you see I've only just a little bit started to burnish that down. I've not burnished this bit here at all. So let me get a piece of paper and then we can see a bit better. Where's my... So, watch what happens when I burnish. I'm just going to move it over a bit. I'm hoping you can see that. So, start at this end. Can you see there you've got like a... It's gone very dark black. Can you see? Move it up a bit more. So, with that you can see this looks wet and this looks dry, but all it is I've burnished the tape down onto that card and I'm releasing and getting rid of all the air bubbles. So it's a bit like if you get a new mobile phone screen and you know you've got to try and burnish all them bubbles out. It's a little bit like that. So the more you burnish, the better adhesion you're going to get. So as you can see here, I've only got that little bit there left to go. So if I just burnish that down, you can see how well that now looks completely stuck onto the card and this isn't. So I'll put another piece down just to show the difference. There. So this one hasn't been burnished and this has. This looks like it's clear and near enough gone transparent, and here you can see that it's not really, although it's stuck to the card, it's not actually stuck to the card. So burnish that one again. There you go. Can you see the two difference there? So that was just a quick little demonstration just to show you. And then if I lift that off, you can see how well that tape has then stuck to that card. You can't see any air bubbles in that at all. But this one, if I lift this up, you will see that it's not as glossy. So I must admit this one feels a lot stickier than that one there. So that was just a little tiny little demonstration of how and why you should burnish your double-sided tape. So again, we're just going to burnish these down. Be careful you don't slip and go through your join, but don't worry if you do, it is fixable. That's the beauty of the tape, because if you do go through it, you just add some more tape. Just take that tape off and then just add some more on top. So I'm taking off this double-sided tape, the backing, like so. Now I will put a little bit of glue on here as well, just to help with the wiggle. So that's the 4 pieces off of there. Now with this I may need I might be okay. Yes, I just need a pokey tool. So 1, 2, I will get it. 2, get that little bit off. There we are. So let me throw this away. So using your glue, we're going to just put a squiggle down the sides of each of those double-sided strips, like so. Put one in the middle there. Okay, and then I'm going to squiggle some glue onto this side as well, onto your spine mount, like so. Then I'm going to line up this bottom here because it's nearest at me now, so I'm going to just line that up so that it's literally as straight as that line, and just a tiny bit. There we go. And then I'm just going to burnish that in place. Now the next thing that we need to do is to bend, because at the moment it's quite rigid, so we need to bend it. So I just use my trusty Tim Holtz ruler. Other rulers can be used, but I like this one because it's got a beveled edge at one side. It's nice, it fits nicely into those grooves. So I'm just going to place my ruler just in where I think is the middle of that join. So I've just lined it up with this side here, and I'm just going to bring up, so I'm going to hold my ruler and I'm just going to bring up that one cover side, just give that a little wiggle, and then you've got a nice bend in there, like so. I will use my tool just to create that nice bend. Then I turn it round, and I'm going to do exactly the same with this side here. Again, just create that tension, okay, and then pull that over, and that then is your next bend. Now give it a bit of a wiggle, and then you will see that when these stand up, you've got more stability in your album, like so. Now because I've got the closures on the side, I do want to show you how to add our magnets. So again, I'm going to take a strip of tape. Now what you could have done, or I could have done, is use my tape that I've been saving at the side, but because I cut this off beforehand. If you're going to be a bit more frugal, I would say just cut a piece off that's going to cover that hole, like so. So I'm gonna should have been a bit more frugal, so take that off like that, and then on the side here as well. So we're just going to do the one side at the moment. So we're going to work out what side I want to have open first. So I'm going to have it so that I pull my closure down, but you can have it where you pull your closure up. So through here is now sticky. I'm going to add a little bit of glue to those holes. Bring in my trusty magnets. Now this is sized at 5/8, but it depends on what magnets you use, but if you haven't got a laser cutter or you're cutting them by hand, what you would do would be to draw around your magnet. So if I put that magnet there, get myself a pencil, okay, you would draw around it like so. That would give you the basis of your size of your magnet. Then using a crocodile or something similar, you might need the big reach crocodile to go into here, and just chomp away until you've taken out that whole piece, that round piece, and then size your magnet on top. That's another way to do it that way. But because I've got the laser cutter, it's just easy for me to have them cut out ready to go. So I've just put my magnets inside like so. Now if you haven't got strong magnets, you can put 2 inside here, but I'm just going to use the one in each hole, and I've just used some spare tape. So as I say, we don't like to waste anything in the crafting world. Okay, I'm just going to burnish those creases out like so. So we now need to get them so that they are together. So I'm going to put this on the top for the moment, because it doesn't really matter with this one at the minute, because I haven't actually got I've got no side, I've got nothing in it, so doing the closure this way is okay. So taking your tape again, we can put our tape on. Now I'm going to put my tape on the underside first, like so. Tape it down. And the last piece, tape it down like so. Then taking your magnets, because they're going to go, it's going to go like that. So I've got sticky side up, put in your glue like so. Get your magnets, which have now stuck to my scissors. So again, you want 3, and just then let the magnets do the work. So 1, 2, 3. So that then is now stuck nice and secure. So getting your tape again, I've got some extra here. We're just going to cover these holes over like so. And like so. And then that is your album completed, all ready to be decorated, and then you can add your bits and pieces onto into your album as you go. So thanks for watching. I really hope you've enjoyed this tutorial on the basic construction of a mini album using the tape method. Now this tape is available in my shop, Tomorrow Morton Crafts. I do ship internationally, so please go and have a look on my shop as well. I will put a QR code around here somewhere that you can scan with a mobile device, and that will take you directly to the foundation tape page. So please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, comment and like on this video as well. I will put links in the description box down below to all my social medias. So with that, all I have left to say is, wherever you are in the world and whatever you're doing, please have the most amazing day, and I will see you again on the next one. Bye!